We know Abraham as the father of faith, a man of peace who believed God even when the promise seemed impossible. So it's surprising to discover that there was a moment when this same man picked up a sword and led men into battle. Most people have never heard this story, but it reveals something powerful. Sometimes faith and courage walk together. When 4 kings from the east invaded the land, they didn't just conquer territory, they defeated 5 kings, burned cities, and carried away captives. Among those captives was Lot, Abraham's nephew, his own blood. When the news reached Abraham, he didn't sit down and wait. He didn't reason it away. He didn't tell himself, "This is too dangerous." He made a decision, a difficult one, a decisive one. With only 318 men from his own household, Abraham set out, not toward safety, toward the enemy, to bring Lot home. 318 men. Now, understand what that means. These were not trained soldiers. They were not professional warriors forged in military camps. They were servants, men who had grown up inside Abraham's household. And yet, Abraham led them, with strategy, with purpose, with complete resolve. He pursued the 4 kings for days, across open desert, through hostile land. And when he finally located their camp, he didn't rush in. He observed, he waited, he chose his moment. That moment was the cover of night. Under the darkness, Abraham moved. He divided his men and launched a coordinated strike from multiple directions simultaneously. The enemy camp was thrown into chaos. What began as a rescue mission had become a battle. 318 men against a force far greater in number. And yet, Abraham's strategy created panic where there should have been none. The kings, who had defeated 5 armies, began to flee. This was not luck. This was not accident. This was a man moving in both faith and military precision. But in the middle of the fighting, Abraham found himself face to face with one of the enemy's generals, a seasoned warrior from Elam, a man who had seen 100 battles, a man who had never been stopped. What followed was not a skirmish. It was a direct and intense personal fight. Abraham succeeded. Lot was rescued. Every captive was recovered. Everything that had been taken was returned. But here is what makes this story even more remarkable. On his return journey, after the battle, after the victory, Abraham met a man named Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of God Most High. And Abraham, in the moment of his greatest military triumph, gave him 1/10 of everything. He chose to honor God in the middle of his victory, not after the celebration, not when the dust had settled, immediately. That is the character of this man. So why did Abraham pick up the sword? Because faith is not always passive. There are seasons when standing in faith means standing still, trusting, waiting. And there are seasons when standing in faith means taking action, even when the risk is real, even when the odds are impossible, even when you only have 318 men against the armies of 4 kings. Abraham was not remembered as a warrior. He is remembered as the father of faith. But this story shows us that when his family was in danger, he rose, with wisdom, with boldness, with everything he had. Real faith sometimes calls us to move, to fight, to trust God in the middle of the battle, not before it, not after it, in the middle of it. Abraham's story reveals a side of him that many overlook. Not just the man who believed, but the man who acted when it mattered most. If this story stirred something in you, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Like the video if it added value, and subscribe for more powerful and untold stories from the pages of history. Until next time, stay legendary.